Okay, we're doing something a little different here. I'm doing my Bible study. I post my quiet times on my other channel just to keep myself accountable. And then we're going to jump right into, we need to do Genesis 35 through 40 here. So we're going to start with the devotional.
Battle.
All right. We need to get to Genesis 35 there. Okay.
Genesis 35 on Through the Word, and today is the day to get back to the place where you first met with God.
First I'm going to open in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for guiding my life. Help me to hear what you have to say to me. In your name, amen.
To the place that God first became real to you, where you found out that God loves you, that He has a plan for you. We're following Jacob's story, and it has been up and down all the way. So many trials, yet God has been faithful to stay with him and see him through. And just when it looked like Jacob's life might find some stability, finally finding peace with both Laban and Esau, Jacob moved his family to Shechem. There, his daughter was raped, and two of his sons went on a rampage of vengeance. And now Jacob finds himself in a mess of deception one more time, worried yet again about vengeance and vendettas. So where can he go this time? God has the answer in verse 1. God said to Jacob, "Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there. Make an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you fled from your brother Esau." So God tells Jacob to get back to where you once belonged. Bethel is the place where Jacob encountered God for the first time. God met Jacob on the lonesome road, running from his own lies and his own brother. And God appeared to Jacob and promised to stay with him and bring him back home. Jacob declared God as his God, and he called the place Bethel, house of God. But that was a lot of years ago, which is exactly why God called him back. Time wears memories thin, and Jacob needs to remember. We can get there too. I fell in love with Jesus 17 years ago. I made commitments for life, for eternity. But sometimes I need to get back. In Revelation 2, Jesus tells his church, "You have forsaken your first love. Remember the height from which you have fallen. Repent and do the things you did at first." That word repent is a real key. It means to turn around, to change your mind and change your direction. Jacob realizes that he has wandered away, and it's time to turn back. So in verse 2, Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, "Put away the foreign gods that are among you, and purify yourselves, and change your garments. Then let us arise and go up to Bethel, so that I may make there an altar to the God who answers me in the day of my distress, and has been with me wherever I have gone." So they gave to Jacob all the foreign gods that they had, and the rings that were in their ears. Jacob hid them under the terebinth tree that was near Shechem. So check this out. Jacob's family wasn't just in the wrong place, they had the wrong gods. A whole collection of foreign gods was in Jacob's house. It's no wonder their lives were a mess. In order to get back, they've got to get rid of all the empty gods. That's true for you and I as well. When God calls you back, just get rid of the soulless gods of money, pleasure, knowledge, and self. Those dead idols don't answer for anything, but God did, and God does. So in verse 7, "And there he built an altar and called the place El Bethel, because there God had revealed himself to him when he fled from his brother." That altar that Jacob built is an emblem of sacrifice. My life is yours, God. It was before, but I declare it again now. And the new name for the place is interesting. El Bethel. El means God, so the name is God of Bethel, or God of the house of God. So what about you? Where's your Bethel, where you first encountered God? For me, my Bethel was more of a time than a place. It was 1996. I was 21. The place was always moving. It was in my car, an 89 Nissan Sentra, cherry red, through the radio. Nothing supernatural. I just stumbled upon the teaching of the Bible for the first time. And for the first time, God was revealed to me. That's how it works. God reveals himself through his word. I didn't know that then, but God met me there, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, with several teachers. I should have called the car Bethel because it was like God's house then, and I and my wife were totally changed. Andrea and I were so overcome by the love of Jesus, just pouring out through his word to us. And it wasn't the car or the place or the teachers or even the word itself. It was the God of that place, the God of the word. We just loved Jesus. And I think that's why Jacob called the place El Bethel, because it wasn't about the house of God. It was about the God of the house of God, El Bethel. Moving on, there is a peculiar repetition of an old event, starting in verse 9. God appeared to Jacob again when he came from Padan Aram, and blessed him. And God said to him, Your name is Jacob. No longer shall your name be called Jacob, but Israel shall be your name. So he called his name Israel. Now God had already changed Jacob's name, but it's repeated here. See, Jacob's name change represented another change, a transformation of character. Jacob means heel catcher or deceiver, but that's the old man. Israel is the new man. Israel could mean wrestles with God or governed by God. I think it's the latter. Jacob the deceiver is now a man submitted to and governed by God. He wasn't acting like it for a while, but here God reminds Jacob of who he's called to be. God also reminds Jacob of his great plan for him. Jacob may have gone off track for a while, but God's plan still stands. The chapter ends in sorrow for Jacob. In verse 18, his wife Rachel dies, the love of his life, while giving birth to his 12th and final son, Benjamin. The 12 sons are listed for posterity in verse 23 to 26. And then, at long last, Jacob's journeys bring him back home to see his father one more time. In verse 28, Now the days of Isaac were 180 years, and Isaac breathed his last, and he died and was gathered to his people, old and full of days, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. And so the great patriarch passed on, the son of Abraham, the man of faith, who carried on the knowledge of God and passed it on to his son Jacob. And the timing here is rather amazing for me. As I am recording this, one of my heroes in the faith, and a patriarch to my spiritual family, has just passed away. Pastor Chuck Smith was 86 years old on this earth, and he's now just about 3 days old in heaven. Pastor Chuck was one of those teachers on the radio when God met me at my Bethel. He taught the Word of God faithfully, and he was the one who taught most of the other teachers to do the same. As they did, God met me there. God was revealed to me through his word, and I am so honored to pay that forward. Chuck Smith was a great teacher, a humble and noble man of God. And he died, as it says of Isaac, old and full of years. But it was never about the man of God. It was always about the God of the man of God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac and Jacob, the God of Chuck Smith, and now my God as well. I owe Pastor Chuck a lot, more than I can count, and I want to dedicate this teaching to Chuck Smith. And I want to say thank you, and thank you, God, for your faithfulness through Chuck and to Chuck. As for the rest of you, read Genesis 35 today, and as you do, ask yourself, isn't it time for you to get back to Bethel? Get back, Loretta. Your daddy's waiting for you. He's high on grace and low on vendetta. Get back home, Loretta.
Join us next time as we continue the journey, one chapter at a time.
Then God said to Jacob,
Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make an altar there to God, who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau, your brother.
And Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him,
Put away the foreign gods that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your garments. Then let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make an altar there to God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me in the way which I have gone."
So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods which were in their hands, and the earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the terebinth tree, which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were all around them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, that is, Bethel, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all the people who were with him. And he built an altar there, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared to him when he fled from the face of his brother. Now Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel under the terebinth tree. So the name of it was called Allon Bacuth. Then God appeared to Jacob again, when he came from Padan Aram, and blessed him.
Your name is Jacob. Your name shall not be called Jacob anymore, but Israel shall be your name.
So he called his name Israel.
I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall proceed from you, and kings shall come from your body. The land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, I give to you, and to your descendants after you, I give this land.
Then God went up from him in the place where he talked with him. So Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering on it, and he poured oil on it. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spoke with him, Bethel. Then they journeyed from Bethel. And when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, Rachel labored in childbirth, and she had hard labor. Now it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said to her,
"Do not fear. You will have this son also."
And so it was, as her soul was departing, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni. But his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died, and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar on her grave, which is the pillar of Rachel's grave to this day. Then Israel journeyed, and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Eder. And it happened, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard about it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maidservant, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's maidservant, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob, who were born to him in Padan Aram. Then Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre, or Kirjath Arba, that is, Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had dwelt. Now the days of Isaac were 180 years. So Isaac breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to our journey through Genesis. So great to be with you for more Bible adventures. We are in chapter 36. I have to admit, this one is not quite so adventurous. In fact, there's really no story here at all. Genesis 36 is mostly genealogy. I know, your favorite. Mine too, of course. Who could not love spending 43 long verses struggling through names that you can't pronounce? But before we judge too quickly, let's give it a chance. Verse 1 begins, "This is the account of the family line of Esau, that is, Edom. Esau took his wives from the women of Canaan, Adah, daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, daughter of Anah, and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite, also Basemath, daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, Basemath bore Reuel, and Oholibamah bore Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These were the sons of Esau who were born to him in Canaan." Okay, so it is just as exciting as we expected. Not exactly a page-turner. I guess if you're looking for baby names, this chapter certainly has a lot of options. Have fun with that. For the rest of us, it's a little more challenging to figure out why we're reading this. It's a genealogy. But we do trust that all Scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, correcting, rebuking, and training in righteousness. Okay, great, it's useful. So how do we use this one? I have a few thoughts on this. First of all, just because something is useful doesn't mean that it's interesting or exciting. Instruction books for assembling furniture are useful, not exactly interesting. Second, this is a great reminder that the Bible is a collection of many different types of writing: poetry, theology, law, history, prophecy. Genesis is history. Most of the history is narrative, as in story. And stories are great. We love stories. They keep it interesting. But history also includes other elements. Genesis includes covenant promises. Those are very important. And history also includes records, lists of facts and dates and wars and leaders and people. The Bible is a historical record, not just a bunch of myth stories to teach us lessons. Some people believe that it's all mythology, but the Bible never states that the stories are mythological, and it is not written in the style of any other mythology. It is written like a history, including genealogies like these. So, if the Bible isn't all meant to be interesting stories, how do we read chapters like this one? What do we get out of it? Well, we can start by treating this chapter as it is, a record. Records are kept for reference, not for bedtime stories. But why do we have this record? The question to ask is, why is this chapter important, not just interesting? How does this information fit the story and flow and purpose of the Bible? And why genealogy in particular? So let's start there. Remember that the Bible is the story of God working out a plan for the salvation of the world, and working that plan through a particular group of people, the descendants of Abraham. Those descendants are key to the whole story, so the Bible tracks them for us, in stories and occasionally genealogies. Well, I should say it tracks some of them for us. There is a split in the family tree right here, between Isaac's twin boys, Esau and Jacob. That split started in the womb. Poor Rebekah carried around dueling twins. Jacob, of course, was renamed Israel, and his descendants are the Israelites. Esau was also called Edom, which means red, and his descendants are the Edomites, later also known as the Idumeans. Edom sounds like Idum. Now, the Bible spends a lot of time on Jacob's line and the nation of Israel. They're at the center of God's plan, leading up to Jesus, Savior of the world. Esau's line is rarely the focus, but it does come up, and there are some important lessons to be learned, and several rather infamous descendants to find. So let's take a look. The account of the family line of Esau, that is Edom. Verse 2 starts us at the beginning with Esau's wives. The first two were Canaanite, Adah and Oholibamah. Isaac and Rebekah were not too happy about that. Then he married Basemath, the inventor of algebra. That's actually not true at all. Just saying if you're still awake. Next we get Esau's kids, Eliphaz, Reuel, Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. Before we move farther, remember that Esau is for us an essential typological picture. Typology is, of course, the symbolism that God sets in the Old Testament that gives us living pictures of New Testament truth and doctrine. Esau and Jacob provide us with a powerful picture of the flesh and the spirit. Interesting, Edom in Hebrew is spelled exactly like Adam, the Hebrew word for man or human. And Edom really is a picture of the flesh side of man, the godless side. The ongoing struggles between these two brothers can teach us some things about the battle inside you and me. Galatians tells us that the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit, and the spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other. That conflict is core to understanding our life following Jesus. We cannot live by the flesh and follow Christ. The New Testament dedicates a lot of ink to this essential truth. Living by the flesh can mean following after lust and greed, or it can mean self-righteous religion, trying to prove your goodness by your works rather than God's grace. The flesh cares more about self than about God or others. And that's what we see in Esau. He sold his birthright for a bowl of food. Feed the belly. Philippians warns against legalistic teachers who focus on works. Their God is their stomach, and their mind is set on earthly things. And Hebrews warns us to see that no one is sexually immoral or is godless like Esau, who for a single meal sold his inheritance rights as the oldest son. So back here in verse 6, Esau took his wives and sons and daughters and moved to a land some distance from his brother Jacob. This is interesting. It says the land where they were staying could not support them both. In much the same way, one person cannot sustain living by both the flesh and the spirit. Romans, Galatians, and Colossians all remind us to die to the flesh and live by the spirit. As long as you keep both, they'll be at war. So Esau moved to a land southwest. Fast forward, and that land was home to the nation of his descendants, the Edomites. The land of Edom is modern-day Jordan, southwest of Israel. At the height of the Edomites, the capital city was Petra. If you recall Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the amazing rock city carved into the side of a cliff, that's a real place, Petra. You can visit it today. Back in Bible times, the Edomites and Israelites were neighbors, and usually at some significant level of hostility. Well, verse 9 continues the genealogy of the Edomites, there in their new homeland, the descendants of Eliphaz and Reuel. It lists the chiefs among the people. A few interesting names show up here. In verse 14, Amalek, the father of the Amalekites. If you recall the story of Esther, the villain Haman was an Agagite, descended from Amalek. So Haman, who plotted to murder and annihilate the Jews, was an Edomite. His plan was thwarted by Esther. Then in verse 23, the sons of Shobal, Alvan, Simon, Theodore, it's Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. Sorry, got a little excited, a little mixed up there. Then verses 31 to 43 list the kings of Edom. Their kingdom would rival Israel for centuries, and battles would flare on and off. When Israel turned from God and the Babylonians invaded, the Edomites joined in, basically taking the opportunity to kick Israel while they were down. Your flesh will always kick you while you're down. Following that, the prophecy of Obadiah was against Edom, and is the best place to read if you want to see where their story leads. Well, the Israelites later defeated the Edomites in the Maccabean age in the 100s BC, and largely assimilated the Edomites into Judaism. By then, they were called Idumeans, and the last ones we hear of were the Herods. Remember the line of wicked kings in Jesus' time? They were Idumean. There were several King Herods, all awful, and all lived for the flesh, power, greed, and lust. Herod the Great killed the babies of Bethlehem to retain his own power. Herod Antipas beheaded John the Baptist and was part of Jesus' trial. He demanded a miracle from Jesus and sent him back to Pontius Pilate. The flesh wants signs, but doesn't care for truth. Herod Agrippa put the apostle James to death and jailed Peter in Acts 12. But God put him to death after some of his fans declared him to be a god, and he didn't stop them. And the last Herod in the Bible judged Paul on trial, and Paul almost got him to believe in Jesus, but not quite. And that is the story of the Edomites. Where are they now? Lost to history. There are some theories, but more important to us is the very real battle between flesh and spirit in each of us. The flesh wars against the spirit. Romans 7 describes the battle within. Whenever you find yourself unable to do the good things you want to do and doing the bad things you don't want to do, that's the flesh. The solution? Die to the flesh and live by the Spirit. Romans 8 lays it out beautifully. Read Genesis 36. Yes, you can skim through the names, but tomorrow we get back to story, and a good one at that. Joseph. I'll see you there.
Now this is the genealogy of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite, Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, the Hivite, and Basemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebajoth. Now Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, and Basemath bore Ruel. And Aholibamah bore Jeush, Jaalam, and Korah. These were the sons of Esau, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Then Esau took his wives, his sons, his daughters, and all the persons of his household, his cattle, and all his animals, and all his goods which he had gained in the land of Canaan, and went to a country away from the presence of his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too great for them to dwell together, and the land where they were strangers could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, and this is the genealogy of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These were the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau, and Ruel, the son of Basemath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Now Timnah was the concubine of Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore Amalek to Eliphaz. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Ruel: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon. And she bore to Esau Jeush, Jaalam, and Korah. These were the chiefs of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, were Chief Teman, Chief Omar, Chief Zepho, Chief Kenaz, Chief Korah, Chief Gatam, and Chief Amalek. These were the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. They were the sons of Adah. These were the sons of Ruel, Esau's son: Chief Nahath, Chief Zerah, Chief Shammah, and Chief Mizah. These were the chiefs of Ruel in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife: Chief Jeush, Chief Jaalam, and Chief Korah. These were the chiefs who descended from Aholibamah, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these were their chiefs. These were the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, the sons of Seir, in the land of Edom. And the sons of Lotan were Horai and Heman. Lotan's sister was Timnah. These were the sons of Shobal: Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. These were the sons of Zibeon, both Ajer and Anah. This was the Anah who found the water in the wilderness, as he pastured the donkeys of his father Zibeon. These were the children of Anah: Dishon and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Dishan: Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Kiran. These were the sons of Ezur: Bilhan, Zeavan, and Achan. These were the sons of Dishan: Az and Aran. These were the chiefs of the Horites: Chief Lotan, Chief Shobal, Chief Zibeon, Chief Anah, Chief Dishan, Chief Ezer, and Chief Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, according to their chiefs in the land of Seir. Now these were the kings who reigned in the land of Edom, before any king reigned over the children of Israel. Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And when Bela died, Jobab, the son of Zerah of Basra, reigned in his place. When Jobab died, Husham of the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. And when Husham died, Hadad, the son of Bedad, who attacked Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Avith. When Hadad died, Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his place. And when Samlah died, Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his place. When Saul died, Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, reigned in his place. And when Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, died, Hadar reigned in his place, and the name of his city was Peu. His wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these were the names of the chiefs of Esau, according to their families and their places, by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alva, Chief Jetheth, Chief Aholibamah, Chief Elah, Chief Pinan, Chief Kenaz, Chief Teman, Chief Mibzar, Chief Magdiel, and Chief Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom, according to their dwelling places in the land of their possession. Esau was the father of the Edomites.
Sorry about that. The Lord just answered one of my prayers. I got a phone call. Okay. Genesis 36 is done. Complete. I need to find now the next plan. Here we go. Part 4.
Welcome back to Through the Word, Genesis 37 today, beginning at verse 2. This is the account of Jacob's family line. Joseph, a young man of 17, was tending the flocks of his brothers. Chapter 37 begins with a young man named Joseph. What follows is one of the greatest epics in all antiquity. It is the story of an extraordinary life, a life that would affect the entire world. The story ahead will span about 20 years. For Joseph, those years will carry him from 17 to 37. Isn't it amazing how much can happen between 17 and 37? Now, as you read, there's a lot to be learned. Life lessons, essential Bible themes. But before any of that, I want you to enter the story. If you know how it ends, try to forget that and experience it as Joseph did. Remember 17 for a moment and imagine life with 10 older brothers. Back in verse 2, Joseph is tending sheep, the flocks of his older brothers, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Joseph is a tattle, a snitch. What is it about kids that makes them love to tell on their siblings and loathe when it's done to them? It's destructive on both sides. Verse 3, Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age. Well, there's a problem. 12 sons, and Jacob has a favorite. That's dangerous. Joseph is younger and Dad's favorite. So Jacob made an ornate robe for him. Now, the word behind ornate is a little tricky to translate. It could mean colorful, or it could mean with big sleeves. Either way, the idea here is authority. Jacob put the young one in charge. The kid wearing big sleeves doesn't do dirty work. He tells others what to do. Verse 4, When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Do you remember how important approval was at 17? How much he just wanted to be liked? Joseph's big brothers are his whole world, but they won't speak one kind word. And Dad's favoritism doesn't help. And neither does verse 5. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brothers said to him, Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Oh boy, maybe better to keep the dreams on the down low, Joseph. But he doesn't. He tells everyone. And in the second dream, the sun, moon, and stars bow down to him. Even Dad is mad about that one. Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? And here we arrive at the crossroads of God's big plan for Joseph's life and the real world that wants nothing to do with it. You may have been there. As we shall see, these dreams were from the Lord. But how do you wait on God's plan when your whole world is pushing in the other direction? Joseph's brothers are envious, and envy is a killer. Every skill and success in the life of your brother is joy in the heart of the humble and poison in the veins of the envious. For Joseph's brothers, that poison is growing deeper. They head to Shechem to graze the sheep, and Dad sends Joseph. Verse 14, "Go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks, and bring word back to me." Bad idea. But Joseph hits the road, big sleeves and all. He gets directions and heads to Dothan. But they see him coming. Verse 19, "Here comes that dreamer," they said to each other. "Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns, and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." Things just got serious. Those dreams have the brothers tweaked. Because in those dreams, they get humbled. Little do they know that that humbling is God's plan for them, to save their lives. Don't be surprised when God's big plan is to humble you. That humbling may save your life. You say, what about Joseph? How come everyone bows to him? Well, before Joseph is exalted the highest, he will be humbled the lowest, by far. Take heed. If you think God has big plans for you, expect the humbling to come first. Back in our story, Reuben, the eldest, hears the plans and tries to rescue Joseph. 22. "Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this cistern, here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him." Reuben secretly plans to rescue Joseph later. Joseph arrives. His brothers strip him of his robe and throw him into the cistern. The cistern is empty, no water, which means he won't drown, but also means he could die of thirst. Verse 25, "As they sat down to eat their meal." Wait, hold on, what? As they sat down to eat? How callous is the heart that can just sit to eat? But they do. And as they do, opportunity presents itself, a caravan of Ishmaelite traders. Verse 26, "Judah said to his brothers, 'What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood.' His brothers agreed." Now pay attention to whose idea this is. Judah. His story will weave in and out with, and in stark contrast to, Joseph's. Here, Judah does, well, can we say this is the right thing? He saves Joseph from death by selling him into slavery. After all, he says, he is our brother. Shouldn't kill your brother, but if you sell him, you get paid, so it evens out. Judah is the ethical pragmatist. Right and wrong sort of bend to necessity. And his brothers agreed. They sell their brother for 20 shekels of silver. That's 2 apiece. I don't imagine that any of them enjoyed spending it much. Probably burned a hole in their pockets and conscience. Blood money. Somehow Reuben missed all of that. He shows up too late. The brothers realize they need a story for Dad. So in verse 31, "Then they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in the blood. They took the ornate robe back to their father and said, 'We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe.' And the lie works. Jacob mourns and refuses to be comforted. 'I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave.' And in 36, meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. Joseph is 17 years old. Do you remember 17? I do. I got my first car, had my first girlfriend. Well, only girlfriend, because I married her. Joseph would look back and remember the year he was sold like property, a slave. He would remember his father's last goodbye, and he would remember exactly how much money his brothers bargained for to sell him. Now, as you connect with the humanness and heartbreak of Joseph's story, let it also connect you with the humanness of another story, of Jesus. Jesus was loved by the Father and sent by the Father to the Israelites, his brethren. Some followed, but many hated. In the end, Jesus was betrayed and sold for silver coins. A robe was put on him, and he was mocked. His body was placed in a tomb rather than a cistern, and he too came out. It's not the same story, of course, but the little hints and connections are no accident. And the most important connection, the big question, is God greater? Can God take all this evil intent and use it for good? And can he do that in your life? For us, we'll have to read on. Read Genesis 37 today, and when you're done, we have more insights on the B-side audio guide, some challenging thoughts on God's sovereignty when all goes wrong, and on Jacob and the dangers of favoritism. A few extras that we edited out for time, and we'll see you back here in Chapter 38.
Now Jacob dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. This is the history of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. Also, he made him a tunic of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. So he said to them,
"Please, hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were, binding sheaves in the field. Then, behold, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And indeed your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf."
And his brothers said to him,
"Shall you indeed reign over us?
Or shall you indeed have dominion over us?"
So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Then he dreamed still another dream, and told it to his brothers.
"Look, I have dreamed another dream, and this time the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed down to me."
So he told it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him.
What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?
And his brothers envied him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Then his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph,
"Are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them."
So he said to him,
"Here I am."
"Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the flocks, and bring back word to me."
So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. Now a certain man found him, and there he was, wandering in the field.
What are you seeking?"
"I am seeking my brothers. Please, tell me where they are feeding their flocks."
"They have departed from here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'"
So Joseph went after his brothers, and found them in Dothan. Now when they saw him afar off, even before he came near them, they conspired against him to kill him.
"Look, this dreamer is coming."
Come, therefore, let us now kill him and cast him into some pit, and we shall say, 'Some wild beast has devoured him.' We shall see what will become of his dreams."
But Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands.
"Let us not kill him. Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him."
That he might deliver him out of their hands, and bring him back to his father. So it came to pass, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the tunic of many colors that was on him. Then they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal. Then they lifted their eyes and looked, and there was a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices, balm, and myrrh, on their way to carry them down to Egypt. So Judah said to his brothers,
"What profit is there if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh."
And his brothers listened. Then Midianite traders passed by. So the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. Then Reuben returned to the pit, and indeed Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his clothes, and he returned to his brothers.
The lad is no more. And I, where shall I go?
So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the tunic in the blood. Then they sent the tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father.
We have found this. Do you know whether it is your son's tunic or not?
And he recognized it.
It is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him. Without doubt, Joseph is torn to pieces.
Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted.
For I shall go down into the grave to my son in mourning.
Thus his father wept for him. Now the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard.
Genesis 38 on Through the Word. A chapter that you almost want to skip. It's a sordid tale here in 38, and not one for the kids, I'm afraid. Kids, pause it now and ask your parents to check it out first. Parents? Well, you'll see. Do you remember Judah, the brother who saved Joseph by selling him? 38 begins as Judah leaves home, moves out, and meets a Canaanite girl. He gets married and has 3 sons. Onan, not the barbarian, and Sheila, not an Australian girl. They're all boys. And time passes. Boys grow up, and in verse 6, Judah got a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death. Wow, that's a little shocking. We don't know what sort of wicked this was, but for all the things that God doesn't take a man out for, must have been some kind of bad. And watch what happens next. Verse 8. Then Judah said to Onan, "Sleep with your brother's wife and fulfill your duty." Say what? Sleep with who? A little explanation. There was a custom, later a rule in Deuteronomy, that if a married man died without kids, the widow remarried his younger brother. Why? 2 big reasons. 1, provide for the widow. Very important to God. 2, provide a family heir accounted to the older brother. This particular bloodline is important. So, agree or not, that's the idea. Verse 9. But Onan knew that the child would not be his, so whenever he slept with his brother's wife, I don't want to read the rest of that sentence. I warned you. Suffice it to say, Onan had sex with her, but made sure they had no kids. Verse 10, what he did was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death also. Wow. Now, historically, some teachers have used this story to say that God is against contraception. I don't see that. The issue here isn't so much contraception as it is deception, selfish lying. Onan stepped in, and instead of caring for the widow and raising a child, he used her for sex. Sure, I'll sleep with my brother's widow, but she doesn't get a child. No love, no sacrifice, no providing, just sex. You know, sex is a tricky subject, and the Bible has some strong warnings. But read carefully. In the Bible, sex is not bad, but it is dangerous. Sex is not dirty, it is holy. Holy means set apart for a special place and special purpose. It's like a fire, great in the fireplace, deadly outside of it. So Judah has now lost 2 sons, both wicked, and he tells his daughter-in-law Tamar, "Live as a widow in your father's household until my son Shelah grows up." But the truth is, Judah thinks Tamar is bad luck, so he gets rid of her. A long time passes, and Judah's wife dies. He grieves for a time, and then he heads out on a trip with his old friend Hira. That trip just so happens to take him through the town where Tamar lives once again. Tamar hears that he's coming, and also hears that son number 3 is all grown up and not marrying her. So Tamar hatches a plan. Verse 15, when Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. Not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law, he went over to her by the roadside and said, "Come now, let me sleep with you." What? Now keep in mind, he doesn't know who she is. Her face is covered. Judah thinks she's any old prostitute. And hey, he's single now, a widower. He gets what he wants, she gets paid, nobody's hurt, right? Wrong. Stepping into the present, the reality of prostitution is serious. It is a huge industry built on human trafficking, kidnapping, forced drug addiction, and much worse. Pornography is no better. When you watch, you support it, with more dollars than the movie industry. It's horrific, and you can no longer claim ignorance. Jesus set prostitutes free, and his people do the same today. More thoughts on prostitution and porn on the B-side. But back in our story, Judah wants to hire a prostitute. He doesn't know it's Tamar, so Tamar asks what he'll pay. He offers a goat, only he doesn't have it with him. So she wants a pledge, a guarantee he'll send it. In verse 18, she takes his seal with a cord and his staff. The seal represented a man's identity, the staff his authority. So he gave them to her and slept with her. And Judah moves on. Finish the trip, carry on. No harm done. Remember, ethical pragmatist. Reason it through. I didn't hurt anyone. He keeps his word, sends his friend to deliver the goat and pick up the pledge he gave her. But his friend can't find her. In verse 21, he asks around about the shrine prostitute. But they tell him there is no shrine prostitute there. So she can't be found. And Judah says, let her keep it. After all, I did send the goat. Practical as always. And that's it. Only that's not it. Sex doesn't work that way. There is no just move on. 3 months later, Judah gets news. Your daughter-in-law Tamar is guilty of prostitution, and as a result she is now pregnant. And the plot sickens. Judah still doesn't get that Tamar was his prostitute, and he is indignant. Bring her out and have her burned to death. Wow, ain't no hater as hateful as a hypocrite. But Tamar's not done. She sends a message to Judah. I am pregnant by the man who owns these, she said, and she added, see if you recognize whose seal and cord and staff these are. Busted, and Judah knows it. She is more righteous than I. I want you to see something here. Judah treated sex as something to be paid for and walk away. That's worth a goat. But sex always costs you more than that. He lost his seal, his identity. Sex affects your soul, and casual sex will rob you of your identity. It takes a piece of you. You think you can just take it back, but it's gone. And Judah lost his staff, the emblem of his authority. Back in the present, how many men have destroyed their family, their reputation, lost respect, lost jobs, destroyed ministries, and lost all authority? Christian leaders, and all for sex. Fools, standing at the point of temptation, risking everything, lying to themselves, and imagining they can just send a goat and get it all back. I'm talking to you. Don't believe your own lies. It will not work. And there is a balance here. It's important that we don't get weird. Historically, the church has added all kinds of rules to sex that are not in the Bible, about contraception, about positions, and added a sense of guilt to sex that does not belong in marriage. God made sex good, and he made it for marriage. Sex is for procreation, it's for pleasure, and it's for unification. The two become one flesh. Hebrews says that marriage should be respected by all, and the marriage bed kept holy, set apart. What that means is sex is set apart for marriage, and within marriage, it's all good. There's no guilt. But outside of marriage, when the two aren't committed to stay one, sex destroys, and it's a sin. In a marriage, sex is like fire in the fireplace. Outside of marriage, it's like fire in the rafters, and it will destroy. But also remember that Jesus forgives sin, and he heals. He forgave the adulteress and set her free, and he takes the broken and makes them whole again. And our amazing God, in his amazing grace, will even use what is broken for good. Tamar gives birth to twins, Perez and Zerah, and you will find their names again, along with Judah and Tamar, in the book of Matthew, in the bloodline of Jesus, the Messiah. Amazing. Jesus can redeem even a story as crazy as this one. They say that redemption is the scarlet thread that weaves through the whole Bible. And guess how chapter 38 ends? A little baby with a scarlet thread tied on his wrist, and his name means risen. Read chapter 38, and for more thoughts on the meaning behind the scarlet thread, and on contraception, prostitution, pornography, and other stuff I'd really rather not talk about, except that it's really important, check out the B-side.
Join us next time.
It came to pass at that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adullamite, whose name was Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he married her, and went into her. So she conceived, and bore a son. And he called his name She conceived again, and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again, and bore a son, and called his name Shelah. He was at Chezib when she bore him. Then Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord killed him. And Judah said to Onan,
Go in to your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother.
But Onan knew that the heir would not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in to his brother's wife, that he omitted on the ground, lest he should give an heir to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord. Therefore he killed him also. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law,
Remain a widow in your father's house till my son Shelah is grown, lest he also die like his brothers.
And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Now in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted, and went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his friend Hira the Adullamite. And it was told Tamar, Look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. So she took off her widow's garments, covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which was on the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a harlot, because she had covered her face. Then he turned to her by the way.
Please let me come in to you.
For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law.
What will you give me, that you may come in to me?
I will send a young goat from the flock.
Will you give me a pledge till you send it?
What pledge shall I give you?
Your signet and cord and your staff that is in your hand.
Then he gave them to her, and went into her, and she conceived by him. So she arose and went away, and laid aside her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend, the Adullamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand. But he did not find her. Then he asked the men of that place,
"Where is the harlot who was openly by the roadside?"
There was no harlot in this place.
So he returned to Judah.
"I cannot find her. Also, the men of the place said there was no harlot in this place."
Let her take them for herself, lest we be shamed. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her.
And it came to pass, about 3 months after, that Judah was told,
Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot. Furthermore, she is with child by harlotry.
Bring her out, and let her be burned.
When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law.
By the man to whom these belong, I am with child. Please determine whose these are, the signet and cord and staff.
So Judah acknowledged them.
She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah, my son.
And he never knew her again. Now it came to pass, at the time for giving birth, that behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand.
This one came out first.
And it happened, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out unexpectedly.
How did you break through? This breach be upon you.
Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterward his brother came out who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerah.
Okay, I do have to go, so we won't be able to finish this. The 40, we'll have to pick that up later. But yeah, if you just want the verses and the audio, check out this playlist I have on my channel. This is my main channel. I have up to 36, and when I'm done with 40, I'll put 37 through 40 on there. And then this playlist is the Through the Word audio for each chapter, along with the verse chapter. And right now I have 1 through 11. So if you want the Bible study along with the verses, check out that playlist. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. And I play Dead by Daylight, by the way, so if these backgrounds are contradicting to what these Bible studies you're seeing, then that's what's going on.